Hi, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Too Opinionated. I'm so excited today. I've got the CEO of intimate wellness company RUNI, Felicia Hershenhorn, with me. So welcome, Felicia.
Thank you so much. So good to be here.
Yeah, I was really excited to talk with you because I think you've got a really interesting story about how you got to this point. So let's start there a little bit because I know you're a lawyer and you have at some point you said, okay, this isn't quite what I want to do, so I'm going to try my own thing. But talk about that a little bit. What went into that decision? And when you were growing up, did you always want to go to law school, or were you like a lot of us and be like, I'm not real sure what I'm going to do, but I'm going to start here?
Well, it's actually very funny because when I think back to my law school application, I told this story and I don't even know why. It did get me into law school. But I was on a plane and I was watching View from the Top with Gwyneth Paltrow, and I also watched Legally Blonde, right? So I watched these two movies with like two very strong characters. And I told my mom, I want to be a flight attendant or a lawyer. Like, I need to do this. I'm called to do either one of those things. My mom's like, be a lawyer. And like, she just kind of said it off the cuff. And I was like, okay. And from that moment on, I was like, I'm going to be a lawyer. And I had like no burning passion for the law, really didn't care about it in the same way that you see like other people, like, I want to change the world, or I'm passionate about criminal justice or this. I just had watched this movie and then I said it so often and everyone knew it was like my thing. I was like, I guess this is who I am now.
Yeah.
So
well, that's what happens when you're younger. That's how it works. Because you don't really know. Most people don't really know. You're trying to figure it out.
And even when you're in law school and they're like, choose a discipline, it's like, okay, I did criminal law for like 2 seconds. I was like, this is what I want to do because this is fun and sexy and exciting. And then I did it for 1 second. I was like, get me out of here. And I was out of there so quick. So, you don't even know when you are a lawyer what you actually want to do. And but then you end up falling into a discipline and a practice, and usually it stays. But
well, yeah, it wasn't like you sucked at being a lawyer. You were a really good lawyer.
Yeah, it was okay. I had a great gig. I was the general counsel at a real estate development company, and it was very fun. I loved everyone I worked with, loved my boss, had amazing friends, like an amazing job, was doing very exciting things, but it just wasn't me. Like, I didn't get to be creative. I didn't get to be playful and funny. And, as a lawyer, you kind of have to be staunch and in not hiding your personality, but it's always about the client, right? And you're always representing your client and the bar association. And for me, that was very difficult. Like, I was not able to compartmentalize my personality in that way. And so when the opportunity came to sort of start something, especially in an arena and a discipline that I was so comfortable in, so passionate about, I was like, I have to do it. Like, this is what I got to do.
Yeah, but that's not an easy call because, a lot of people run into those situations where they could take that leap. Because that's something that they're kind of passionate about or think they might be, but they don't do it.
Right.
What gave you the courage to kind of take the leap?
I don't know. There's not a moment where I'm like, okay, this is what like fueled me. I think it was more just like a desire to want to live more authentically as myself.
Right.
And I was like, I can't do this. I can't come in here every single day and like not show my entire personality. Like, I really want to be me. And so that's really what propelled me forward. And then what kept me going was I couldn't fail, because everyone told me I was making a mistake. My parents, my friends, my sister. Yeah, everyone's like, what are you doing? Because so I got to a point in my career very early on that takes a lot of people a long time to get to. Usually the trajectory is like, go to law school, you practice in a firm, you make partner, and then after you make partner, you go in house, or when you're about to make a partner, you go in house. But I went right in house. So I was really at the tippity top.
Yeah, you skipped some steps.
I skipped a few steps. And so I knew that's what my life was going to be, or some iteration of that for the next 50, 60, 70 years, and that just wasn't enough for me. So everyone was like, you did a lot really quickly. Why are you giving that all up? You worked so hard. So I knew I really can't fail here. Like, this has to be it. So I went, excuse my French, balls to wall. And I just was like, I'm going for it. So that's kind of what happened.
Good for you. I think that's so terrific. It resonates with me because I did when I got out of college. I went in college. I was like, I don't have a clue what I want to do, but I guess management maybe. So I got my degree, and still had no clue. What do you do with that once you get out? And kind of stumbled into call center management, and I did that for 20 years. And it was fine. It wasn't bad. I didn't hate it. It wasn't bad, but that passion just wasn't there. It was just fine with that. And it finally got to the point I was like, I got to change something, because this just isn't really what I want to do for the rest of my life. Now, did I think that was going to be podcasting? No, but here I am. Love it. Best decision I ever made.
It's so funny because I find like when you get upset or stressed out, it permeates in other parts of your life as well, right? And I'm sure you felt that, like, there came a point of critical mass when you were just like, this stress and this like feeling of I need to get out is showing itself in other parts of my life. And that's when I knew for sure I had to get out, because I was like, I'm not showing up as me, even with my friends or in my relationships with my family.
Yeah. I think that's the key is you don't feel like yourself. And if you do it long enough, you figured it out pretty early. If you do it long enough, you start to wonder, well, who am I? Who is my real self?
Who am I looking at in the mirror? Like, I look like myself. I hear thoughts in my brain, but like the words coming out of my mouth are not me. Like, what is this?
I figured out I did not want to be telling people what to do.
No. And I didn't want to be told what to do.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, it's so funny because I was really, like, I was the only female lawyer, but there were other females in the office, obviously. Sure. And people would be like, oh, what are you wearing on your skin? What makeup is that? What nail color is that? So it's like, I was always talking about beauty. And I was like, okay, this is really what people want to talk to me about. Like, nobody's calling me and asking me for my opinion on a limited partnership. People want to know where to get their facials, So it was like, that is where my authority is. So why don't I try and make a go of that, as my full life? And so that's kind of how it's like snowballed. Of course, it wasn't as seamless as that. And I was my first business that I participated in and I founded and I ran, it started off as something completely different, and it turned into skincare, and then it turned more into beauty, and it became what it was. But I knew it had to be something in health and wellness, because that's what people were calling me about. They were not calling me about real estate law. I can guarantee that.
Yeah, I think that's so great. And you started that business that kind of became a beauty line, right? And it did pretty well.
Yeah.
But how did that evolve into the new business?
So I started that kind of right before COVID is when we kind of started that up. Became very successful, and it was such a great learning experience for me. But I had partners in the business. And I again, love beauty, love skincare, but I had this idea for RUNI, which is my new company.
Yeah.
And I always had that in the background. And then there came a time again where I was just like, okay, I've done it with the beauty business. It's successful. It's operational. It's going. So now it's time to do something else. Like, I wanted to, expand my offering. So that's kind of when I decided to leave and start RUNI. And RUNI is actually my childhood nickname.
Yeah, I thought I had read that. So what is that? What does that stand for? How did you get the nickname RUNI?
It's, what, the provenance of the name is contested. But basically, we know where it comes from. My family and friends used to call me Fruny. And so Fruny got shortened to like RUNI balls, and then RUNI balls got shortened to RUNI. But we can't remember if like the age that RUNI kind of came about, but for probably like the last 20 years, people have been calling me RUNI from RUNI. So that's kind of how it came. And then when it came to starting a business and when I was going to be front facing, I was like, well, I don't know if I want to call it Felicia, like, because that's like, no, whatever. It's like kind of plain, you know, there's like memes about bye Felicia. And I was like, that's overplayed. Like, let's give it my actual name. Like, no one calls me Felicia. So I'm like, let's give it RUNI. Like, why not? Let's have fun with it. And so my parents.
What's unique?
Yeah. Like, what does it even mean?
Yeah, I don't know.
Like,
I like it.
Am I allowed to swear on here?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Oh, amazing. It's really like, fuck you. Because it's just like, what does that even mean? Like, who is she? What is that? And that's what I wanted people to like ask and talk about. And it's cute. It's like 4 letters. So it's like chic and avant-garde and, you know, so.
When you can do fun stuff with it, you know, in a logo and, you know, to, like I was looking at your website, which is very well done. Do you do that yourself?
Yeah, I have a team.
Yeah.
They're amazing.
That's good. They're really good. They're really good. It is well done. But I think it lends itself to marketing. Yeah. So
that's what I thought too.
Yeah, I think you chose wisely because it's unique. I've never seen that before, and it catches your eye and you remember it. So yeah, I thought it was really good.
That's why I was like, I have to go with it. Like I just don't have a choice. And I mean, it's so funny because people are like, okay, you were a lawyer, then you started this beauty company, now you're doing this. What's next? I'm like, RUNI is it. Like RUNI is me. It's a reflection of who I am. It's my name. You know, so I really wanted to use my name to show people like I've done all these other things and they were amazing experiences. I've learned so much and I'll never walk away from them on a personal level. But like RUNI is really like kind of the apex professionally of what I've been working towards. So
yes, I think that's pretty amazing. So talk a little bit about it. You know, I mentioned before it's intimate wellness. How did you go from beauty to intimate wellness? I mean, there's a little bit of a tie-in. But how did that evolve and what exactly is that?
So, I mean, first of all, RUNI, like you said, intimate wellness company that celebrates pleasure as an essential part of human sexuality, fundamental to overall health, well-being, and equality. So it really is a tie-in between health and wellness and beauty, right? Like when you think about the body, people love to compartmentalize and think about it as like, okay, when I'm thinking about my skincare, I do this. When I think about exercise, I go here. When I think about eating well, I just do this. And they don't think of their body as like a system and a process where everything works together. And intimate wellness factors into that. It's not completely separate. You know what I mean? Like your orgasms are just as tied to amazing skin as your stress levels. Why? Because if you're constantly having amazing orgasms, likely your stress levels are going to be a little bit lower and you're going to have glowing skin. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that is a good point. It does all kind of tie together.
Exactly. It's not, you know, it's not as cut and dry as that, of course, and there's different factors, but people don't think about their body as one big system and they really like to divvy it up. So with RUNI, I'm trying to show people that taking care of yourself on an intimate level is just as important, if not more important, than your skincare, than your exercise, than taking care of your stress levels, because it all works together. But to answer your question on how I kind of started it and why I started it, it wasn't, again, just like the name RUNI, it wasn't like one moment where I was like, aha, here's my founder story. And like, I have this really beautiful elevator pitch. I actually don't have that because that's rarely true for anyone and definitely not true for me in this situation. But I always had, like I said, people would always come to me and be like, okay, what nail polish is this? And where do you go to get your eyebrows done? And what's this? What's that? But where I really found that was happening was in restaurants, in bars, you know, at clubs, at night. Girls would be in the bathroom. I would never see these girls again, didn't even know their names. And they'd be like, I love your dress. Where's it from? Can I borrow it? Oh my God, I'm ordering it right now. And you would just see this camaraderie among girls talking about all things, fashion, wellness, lifestyle, sex, relationships. And I'm like, why does that only exist here? Like, why are we not comfortable enough to talk about these things in a tasteful way, of course, in the general public, in quiet society, in polite society? Like, why does that not exist? And so I wanted to create RUNI as a place where people could come, a safe place where people could come to talk about their more intimate wellness needs in quiet, polite, regular society without feeling embarrassed. And so that's really why I started it. And then when I got more into understanding sexual wellness and understanding sort of like where the white space was and where there was gaps in the market, I came across this problem called the pleasure gap, where women and men are not having orgasms on the same level, the same intensity, and the same amount. And I'm like, this is true from my own experience, from friends' experiences, and
Right.
from anything you watch. So I'm like, this is where I'm coming. This is the product I'm going to bring to solve that problem. So where fundamentally, we're a CPG company, we have a product that is amazing. It's the serum designed for sex that basically gives you bigger, better, faster orgasms. Even beyond that, RUNI is a place, a community where you can come and talk about your intimate wellness needs without being embarrassed, feeling like you're supported, and where you're going to get the answers to the questions that you're asking.
I think it's a really interesting idea, because those type of sites or communities have started with men, a while back, you probably in the last 10 years or so, especially you've seen that, but you really don't see any of that on the women's side.
No,
with that. And that's, that right there is a gap.
I mean, you see places
really
like
good.
Reddit,
right.
on Reddit. And it's so funny. We have on my website, it's called the Juicy Journal. And one of the articles we have coming up, I'm not even sure if it's posted right now, but it should be coming up this week. It's like Reddit's top sex tips. And it's because people are going on Reddit and being like, I have this question, give me the answer. But it's like, why are we not talking about this? If so many people are voting this up to the top of the subreddit, obviously there's a need for this information out there. And we're not getting it. Right. So that's where RUNI comes in, to really collect information, collect stories, collect anecdotes, and give people that space and that ability and that freedom to talk about what they want.
So once you decided this is the product I want to start with, it's not like you just had the product, you have to make the product. So how did you go about that process? What went into designing the product and deciding on what ingredients to put in, testing it, all of that stuff? How did you get the product to market?
So like I mentioned, everyone would always be like, what are you using here? What are you using there? Because I'm like very ingredient focused. So I find the hot ingredients. I like to know like what people are using and why, what they're mixing it with, what they're not mixing it with. And CBD was always something that was so interesting to me, just like completely, for its anti-inflammatory properties, for its ability to hold water, like for whatever the reason was, I was interested in it. And you'll see in 2018, with the Farm Bill, right, when CBD all of a sudden became legalized and you were able to sell it federally in the United States, a lot of beauty companies started using CBD. But then all of a sudden, they stopped. And it's because CBD is an expensive ingredient. And I was like, there must have been a reason they were using it, because I know the reason they stopped using it is because it's expensive. But what was the reason they were using it? And then when I started digging into what CBD could do for the body, and whether it had to be applied topically, whether you had to ingest it, and sort of like what the ability was to use CBD in the sexual situations or sexual settings, I realized that this is an ingredient that could actually transform people's sex lives. And then there were other ingredients as well, like hyaluronic acid, that really makes sex for women a lot more enjoyable, can ease pain with penetration, is amazing for moisture and dryness, like when you are dry and you need moisture in those nether regions. And I was like, how can I put all these ingredients together to create a product that is just like not out on the market right now? And so it took time, right? It wasn't like I had this idea and then I started formulating. It was like, okay, I had ingredients. I knew that I wanted to help the pleasure gap, right? Like I wanted to close the pleasure gap, but I don't know what that product is. And it really was trial and error. It was finding the right lab, finding a thought partner, and coming up with a product that could solve the problem that I saw in the market. And so it wasn't overnight. But after a few months, we came up with this serum for sex. And then when we came up with the idea for the serum for sex, we saw, okay, there are other products out there in the market, but a lot of them are oil-based. And when you have an oil-based product, you can't use them with condoms, right? Because it degrades the integrity of latex. And I'm like, there's another thing that we can hit. So again, back to the drawing board. And we had actually had an oil in our product originally. We pulled it out because I'm like, I want to be able, I want people to be able to use condoms with these products and not create more friction in the funnel when they're going to buy. And so again, we went back, started formulating, finding different ingredients. And then we found, we decided to make our base aloe vera, hyaluronic, vitamin E, 2 different adaptogenic mushrooms, CBD, done. No smell, no taste, no preservatives, completely antimicrobial, no parabens, no glycol, no mineral oils, like the best product, pH balanced. And here we are, like 2 weeks away from launch. We have the final product. And that's kind of how it went down.
That has to be kind of exciting to start. I mean, you literally started from the beginning and had to come up with the idea and then research all the ingredients. And you're like, this is what I want to use. And then find somebody that can actually make what you had envisioned. That's pretty amazing.
It's so funny what Google can do. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, but not in a way where it's like, oh, okay, I'm just gonna like Google what the answer is. It's like, if you get creative, like Google has all the answers. You just gotta find them, right? Of course, it's sort of like reinforcing itself, where if you start looking at certain things, those things keep coming up to
That's
you.
right.
You have to be able to sort through some of the BS. But I knew what I wanted to. I knew I wanted to do something in sexual wellness because of just how important it is to overall health and well-being, and that equality portion. I never want to dismiss that. Like, I just feel that women don't have the ability to talk about sex and pleasure much in the same way, and again, like white society, that men do, right? Like, there are still those connotations where if a woman is going out and doing that she's going to be slut shamed, or she is
Right.
a slut. And it's like, no, deriving pleasure from your own body is not quote unquote slutty. It's not promiscuous. That's not provocative. That's a baseline for everyone. And we're not even there yet. And so I knew I wanted to make that more readily available, because I told you, I left law because I felt like my personality was kind of being stamped out, and I didn't want to have to compartmentalize. And if I was doing that and I'm loud and boisterous, people who aren't comfortable, what are they doing? What are they feeling? If they don't feel comfortable in their intimate moments talking about what they want, how are they going to ask for what they want when they're sitting in a job interview and they're negotiating a pay raise? It's like everything is interconnected. So that's really why I was so involved. And then, or so excited about this space. And then when I got into like the ingredients and the formula and how good it was for your body and how it can really radically transform your sex life, I was like, I have to do it. There's no turning back.
That's pretty amazing. And I'm guessing that a law degree has not hurt you in starting a business. That has probably come in very handy.
It's been good. But what I will say is I also went into law school because I was very bad at math and science, and it just didn't click for me. But it's so funny because when you apply those 2 subjects to, something that you actually are interested in, it's amazing how quickly they come to you. So.
Isn't it? Because then it becomes kind of interesting, which is a lot of the problem when you don't understand something, is that the interest isn't there. The drive to learn it isn't there.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Like, I didn't know, like, what is it? Like cosine, sine, like, I was like, no, I can't, please don't. Yeah. I'm getting confused. But like, now I'm like, yeah, of course I know what this and this is. Like, it makes sense because there's context. So
how has the new company went over with family, with friends? What kind of feedback are you getting?
I mean, everyone originally fell off their seat because it was a sex company, a sexual wellness company with my nickname. Yeah. But I have to say, everyone is so jazzed, so excited. Every single person, age does not matter, sex does not matter, orientation does not matter, nothing matters. Everyone's like, where can I buy some? So, because like I said, it's a need. Everyone's having sex. There was actually an amazing, I think it was a study by McKinsey or BCG. I can't remember, one of the big consulting groups. They basically did a report after Corona about people having sex. And the thesis, or sort of the conclusion of this report, was that after Corona, everyone was chaotically horny. And so like coming out of lockdown, so I'm like,
we were locked up for a while.
Exactly. So, I'm going to tap in on that. Like, you know what I mean? And it's true. People want to get out. They want to express themselves. They want to have sex. And, it's so funny because I'm not sitting at the dinner table, like talking about sexual escapades. And I don't expect anyone to do that. That's not what, if you want to do that, go ahead. This is just about coming to terms with the fact that people are having sex and not all of it's great. So let's make it better. Like this is an actual problem. And whether it's not great because of emotional connections, or you're not asking for what you want, or you don't know what you want, or whether it's not great because you have pelvic floor dysfunctions, or you have hormonal issues, those are just things that need to be addressed. And if you're embarrassed to address them, the problem will never subside. So,
yeah. I mean, if you have something wrong, you go and get help to make it better. Why not here as well?
Exactly.
Makes sense to me. If we can, anything you can do that lowers the kind of communal stress level, if it starts bringing stress down, just for people in general, I'm 100% behind that because I think just as a society, we need more of that.
Yeah, we're a little high strung.
We're
a little high strung, especially lately. Everyone's like rearing and gearing to get out. It's like, go, do you. Like everyone wants to drink and go to concerts and have sex, and I'm like, great, I'm here to support you. I do get one of the questions I get often though is, again, like, well, what do you say to the person that wants to like run around naked and do, like, is that what your company stands for? And I'm like, yeah, sure. 100%. Like if that's what somebody wants to do, as long as they're not hurting me and they're not hurting others, like I'm fully supportive of that. I think people are just so used to sex companies and sexual wellness companies in particular having this like one note type of message and branding, and that's like really that like male idealization of sex, and there's one way to be sexy, and there's one look to sex, and it's very performative, and it all has to be in this like playboy hustler whatever type vibe. And that is one aspect of sex for some people. And I don't think we can discount that. I think that is what makes some people excited. And we can't just totally get rid of that. But there's so many other aspects to it. There's emotional aspects to it. There's intellectual aspects to it. There's fantastical aspects to it, like fantasy and kink and all those things. And we're not telling people that you have license to explore that. And I think that just showing them that there's a place to converse about that in a safe way that's like healthy, where they don't feel embarrassed, like that is really the key to RUNI. So we're not telling them like this is the one way and the one way only to have sex, and this is how you do it, and this is how you should look. No, I don't care what you look like. I don't care what you say. I don't care what gets you off. I just care that you feel that there's a place for you where you can be like, okay, I'm not having orgasms with my boyfriend and I want to. Is there something that helps me? Yes, that's RUNI.
Yeah, I love the fact that you approach it like it's a community, and I think that's a really good way to do it, because most businesses don't. Most of them, you're right. It's kind of a one size fits all with that, and I love the fact that you're really approaching it as a community, and what can we do to help. Like that.
Always. It's always about the customer. When I'm in Starbucks and I'm not getting my order, I'm like, I'm a customer, like it's always, and it's so funny because like everyone, that would be always my biggest piece of advice to anyone. I'm like, always listen to your customer, but your customer is not just one person. Your customer is a community of people. So you have to make sure that all of these people are taken care of. And the way to do that is to build them a community, right? And allow that community to talk to you and you to talk back to them.
Yeah, so. I love that. I love it. What's your Starbucks drink?
Oh my gosh, I'm so easy. So easy. A soy latte. That's it.
Oh, that is easy.
Yeah, I know. What about you?
So I'm cold brew, usually a venti, because I would get bigger if they had it, and I see I would prefer sugar-free caramel, but they don't have that, at least here in the state. You got to get sugar-free vanilla. So, and that's fine. And then I get almond milk with it.
So I don't like almond milk. And I know
Yeah.
everyone's like going, like they're freaking out over almond milk and oat milk now. They're just like, it's not as good for you as you think. And I'm just like, I never liked it because it tasted
Yeah.
like
Just the
cardboard.
taste. Yeah. The
It's
taste.
just like shit.
Well, so I would probably go soy, but my wife's allergic to soy. So we just went almond. And
Mm.
that's, because I have, so I've got celiac, so I can't do
Okay.
gluten. And
Mm.
along with that came this wonderful gift of lactose intolerance. So I can take a pill, but if I can just avoid it, then I just avoid it.
You might as well.
Yeah.
See, it's so funny because there's so many options now. Like I go into Starbucks, I'm like, okay, I
Right.
can have coconut, I can have 2% lactose free, lactose
Yeah. You can get
full
whatever you
fat.
want now.
I can get whatever I want. But there's actually one milk that I love. You can't get it at Starbucks though. It's macadamia milk. Oh
Ooh,
my
I've
God.
seen that before. What's the
It's so
difference in
good.
that and almond milk?
Nothing. It's just different type of nut, but it's like so
Taste better.
much. It has so much more fat, I guess, and it's so much more flavorful.
I mean, I'm gonna try it.
Oh my gosh, I'm gonna text you after this, the brand, and
Yes,
I could talk
please
about
do.
this for the next 2 hours, but it's so good, and your coffee will forever be changed.
Yes, I need that because coffee's been a difficult one for me anyway. Because
Oh,
coffee, you have to develop a taste for coffee. You don't try coffee the first time and be like, yeah, that's really good. Because you have to.
amazing.
You have to get used to it and stuff. So it took me a while to get there. Much
She's
like
bitter.
now I'm trying red wine. Same thing. I can handle the white. You start out kind of sweet and you slowly try to get to where you can handle the more bitter stuff. But
Well, that's the thing. I was always like, even when I go out on dates, when I go out with friends and people are like, what's your drink of choice? I would always just tell the bartender like the sweetest cocktail you can make because I never understood. I'm like, I would rather just have like an apple juice, like, but
yeah,
everyone's drinking. So sure, yeah, I'll have a drink. And I would always get the sweetest. And then white wine, I can now kind of tolerate because there's
yeah.
some sweet ones. But red wine,
Oh my
she's
God.
strong.
Yeah.
Like,
It's not good.
no.
That's my opinion. My wife loves it, but she spent a lot of time in Europe and they drink it
Okay.
like water over there. So she got
Well,
used to it.
okay. So in university, we had this class and it was the history of wine. I'm like, sign me up. Okay. I go in first day class. I'm excited. Everyone's excited for this class. The teacher, first thing he says, he's like, if you think you're going to be here tasting wine all day, you're very wrong. He's like, this is the history of grapes. And so literally half the class emptied out. I was one with them, never walked back in. But he did invite everyone that came for like the first class to come to the last class for a wine tasting. And I was like, oh, thank God. But I can't get on board with red. It's just
No.
takes me out.
Like if you read the description, you're always like, ooh, that sounds good. I like all of those ingredients. It doesn't taste like that.
No. Even white wine, they're like, it's pear and peach and citrus. I'm like, okay, I taste it. I'm like, no.
Yeah. And you get I always, if you have a wine drinker, they're always like, oh, I taste this and notes of this. I was like, do you really? Because I'm trying it and I don't get any of that.
Well, I feel like it's kind of, okay, I don't know if this is the right analogy. So stop me if I'm like spewing, but I feel like it's people that are obsessed with burgers. Like, you know what I mean? Or like French fries. People are like the fries from there are amazing.
People
The
love
fries from
fries.
there. And I'm like, dude, they all taste the same. Like some are more crunchy and crinkly, but it's like it's a tater.
Yeah.
Like I can't taste the difference, but people get into it. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. Some of them are a little crisper than others, but it's basically the exact same thing.
It's the same. It's the same, in my opinion, anyway.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you. So that was a long way of saying I was that way with coffee, but now I love coffee and I can drink it black. I don't prefer it black. I prefer to mix it up. Why would you drink it black if you didn't have to?
I know so many people Turkish coffee is a great example. Turkish coffee is like, they don't make, sometimes they mix a little sugar into it, but it's like very strong distilled and they love it. And when you're offered Turkish coffee, it's like an offense not to drink it. So I've been offered a few times and I'm sitting there and I'm like,
it's a small cup though, right?
You can shoot it back, but if you're not even supposed to shoot it back. So there's many rules and regs. But it's very but usually they, they give you dates with it, so I could chase it with a date or like some sweet treat. But coffee, no. She needs like soy milk or sugar or milk or cream, or else I'm not drinking it. I've actually been off coffee for a week.
What is it? Oh, you have? No coffee in a week?
I know. I'm like bugging out. I'm like,
what, are you getting any caffeine?
Well, I mean, we spoke before.
Yes, we did.
There's a beverage that I
our secret tweet or a treat.
So, but I'm thinking about I've actually not had that in the last week either. So I've been kind of caffeineless.
Well, if you doze off, I know what happened.
It's not you. It's me.
See, I think the next time when you come back, we need to do a wine tasting.
I would love that.
just because I have a feeling we're not going to like any of it, but it'll be hilarious.
Literally. But I've been to like many wine tastings because, girls love to do that. Even boys love to do that, but bachelorette parties and whatever.
Yeah.
And always it's like, I see the people spitting it out after and I'm like, yeah, that's the only reason I'm here. This is the one reason I'm here. And that's the part I don't get. I could play with the best of them. No, 2 glasses in, I'm like, yeah, you know what? I am tasting the sandalwood here. But I'm going to drink. I'm not spitting this one out. I'm going to drink this glass.
They always want to pair it, like, let's try it with this dark chocolate. Well, okay, but you have ruined this dark chocolate for me now because it tastes terrible with this red wine.
You're going to have so many listeners like writing in being like, you guys don't know anything about wine. And you are right, listener. You are right. I know nothing about wine.
It's us. It's not you. It's us. But yes, I think we need to do a tasting just for our reactions. But we have to like give like legit reactions. This is like,
I will do it. Yeah. I will 100%. We'll do like a flight. Like I will prepare a flight.
Yes.
But the thing is, because you're in West Virginia, right?
West Virginia. Yeah.
West Virginia. Okay. And so I'm in Toronto. And so we don't necessarily have the same wines. We have to make sure we have the same brands.
Yeah. We have to plan ahead of time.
It has to be controlled.
Yes.
Controlled test. Yeah.
Although legit, you could pick any random red wines. It will not make a difference.
I know. Well, so an ex-boyfriend of mine actually, and he'll listen to this and he will laugh at this story. On our first date, which this is a very bad story, but we had mutual friends in common. I felt very safe. I went to his place, and he made me dinner. And
that's a nice date.
Oh, it was so nice. And we were talking and I said to him, he was like very much into food and wine and whatever. And I said to him, I was like, like wine, I know nothing about wine. Like box wine is just as good as it from the bottle. I thought first date, one and done. I did not think we were going out again because this guy, he reamed me and he laughs about this even to this day. We're still friends. And anytime he drinks a glass of wine, he'll send me a picture. He'll be like, is this as good as a box wine? And I'm like, to me, yeah.
See, that's pretty great. But yeah, now you have that. You can share that forever now.
Forever.
You have that connection.
Right, exactly. I mean, I don't know if his new girls would love it, but
yeah,
we laugh.
Well, yeah, I had all my high school friends. They went to college, and all of them took the wine tasting class. It was an actual wine tasting class. Oh. So now, every time we get together, I got to listen to just all this nonsense about how great the wine is and all this. I'm like, oh. I was like, okay, all right.
I was going to say, it's the same thing with beauty. Like you can find someone that stands on a hill with a product that they absolutely love and it works for them and it changes their life. And you can find 50 other people or 2 other people like you and me. We've used the product or the ingredient. We're like, it doesn't work. You know what I mean? And that's the way the world goes around. Like, that's just how things go. That's how the cookie crumbles, I guess. So,
yeah, you're exactly right. You're exactly right. So I took us down this whole rabbit hole of coffee and wine. I never would have thought that if you told me ahead of time that we were going to talk about coffee and wine, I would be like, why? Why would we do that?
Well, it's erogenous.
That's true.
So,
Very true.
you know,
Perhaps it does fit.
yeah.
So what's your plan for RUNI going forward? Because you've got your like initial product that's getting ready to release. But what's the future hold? What do you have ideas for the next wave and how it's going to evolve?
So we're launching actually in 2 weeks. So August 29th is our launch day. So very excited about that. That's
Coming fast.
Sale. It's coming fast. It's honestly, it's going to be big. People are so excited about it. We get so many DMs on Instagram. I get so many messages personally, emails from people that have found my email. When is it for sale? When can I get it? When can I get it? I'm like, August 29th, guys. So I think it's honestly, people are just jazzed.
Are you like super excited, but like nervous, anticipating the date, or you just kind of like, oh, this is going to go good?
That's how I feel. And it's so funny because when you approach something with a positive attitude like that, like even if you're nervous, like even if you're a little bit afraid, because of course there's some fear that it's not going to hit in the way I think, or the market won't receive it in the way that I think they're going to receive it once they get product in hand. You just have to be positive, because people right now are buying me and what I'm saying about the product. And I really am authentically jazzed about it. I'm excited about it. And I want people to feel that way too. And if I approach them in a timid way, they're going to be timid about buying it. So I always say, like, I have another friend. Yeah, he's starting up another company. And he's like, Felicia, like, tell me what's your biggest piece of advice? Like, I'm just starting out. I'm like, believe in yourself. Be excited. Be your biggest cheerleader.
Yeah, see, I think that's exactly right, because what people want is someone that is genuinely invested in the product. What you usually get is somebody that's being paid to be invested in the product. It's not the same thing. But when you see somebody that's like, this is what I use, it's going to be great, you're going to love it, that type of thing, you get excited. And I think that's what people want.
That's there has been recently this amazing expansion of influencer marketing where, you see people talking about products, and of course that gets watered down. And now there has to be like a new wave of marketing. And I'm excited because we're going to start seeing like what that new wave is, because we're still at the tail end of influencer marketing. But that's what made Mary Kay so successful way back when in Tupperware parties, because it's your friends, it's your aunts, it's your cousin, it's your gym teacher selling you something. You trust them, right? And I think what's happened with influencer marketing, unfortunately, is we've lost that trust. And so, people are now looking for another way to stamp down and get that stamp of authority on what the product is and if it works. And the one thing about my product is that, number one, it does work. We're very transparent about what the ingredients are, what they do. There's not a whole bunch of filler in there. It's 6 ingredients. You can pronounce them. You've seen them before. You know what they are. And people want to know that the people behind the brand, like you said, are not just being paid to talk about it.
Right.
And that they're jazzed. But so number one, I'm jazzed about it because I know it works. I'm excited. But number two, just as like somebody that's starting a business, it's like, cheer yourself on, because everyone is going to be waiting for you to fail. I'm sure people do that with
that's just society. Yeah, that's just society, unfortunately.
Yeah. So, I'm excited about the future for RUNI, of course, where we're going next. And I said this at the beginning, the categories of wellness are completely converging now, right? You don't just have exercise and sleep and brain health. You're really starting to see it be systemic. And so while we are an intimate wellness company at our core, we are, of course, branching out into other products, but other products that make sense within the offering, right? Yeah. So like body care, skin care, that's really where we're going, because it's all works as one. And so I want RUNI to be your one-stop shop.
Yeah, I think that's pretty, that's pretty exciting, actually. Yeah, good for you. I think it's such a great idea. And I'm still really impressed that you took the leap to begin with. I know this is kind of like the second leap. You had the first leap and then the second leap.
I know, we do.
And that's really, and it's not, it's one thing to take a leap when you're already struggling. Something's not working out and you're struggling, but you were doing fine. You had a good job, good career.
Yeah.
You just weren't satisfied.
I was not satisfied. And it's so funny. There's so many articles now. I think even Bloomberg wrote one where it's like people are only staying at jobs 2 years. And it's like because
Yeah,
there's so many rules and regulations on what you can and can't do. And people also aren't seeing the same loyalty from their bosses that they were seeing, 20 years ago. So it's like people
true.
are realizing that they're disposable, which is very sad. This is more of a cultural comment on, like the workforce and sort of corporate identity, which I didn't feel at my job. I felt
Yeah.
very secure, loved the people that I work with,
But you're right, that's rare.
it's rare, right? And so even that was an added layer as to why people were like, "You're so crazy." Like, yeah, I didn't even have to wear a suit every day. Like, I could wear jeans and a
Pretty
t-shirt.
nice. Yeah.
Like I had it, but I just knew I would always sit back and regret, why didn't you had these ideas, why didn't you just try them? And so no one's going to take away my law license, for going and doing something else. No one can take away my legal education.
Yeah.
So that will always be there for me. But what won't be there for me is the time and opportunity to go after something that I want. And I had it, so I just took it.
Yeah.
There are days that I cry in my closet. Don't get me wrong. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
oh, it's not just me. Okay.
Like, I'm like, oh my God, what am I doing here? And
everybody should have a crying closet.
Oh 100%. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
My closet, it's the best thing in the world. That's like where I do all my quote unquote therapy sessions with myself. But it's just, it's one of those things where I'm so happy I did it. I've learned so much. I met so many cool people on the way. I get to hang out with you, and we're going to do a wine flight tasting.
That's right.
So,
we have big plans.
That's the thing. I mean, I would say, can I say the other beverage that we have to have Diet Coke to chase? Because like I can't drink 9 wines.
No. We have to have a chaser.
It has to be Diet Coke.
I'll just say, not that I drink it, but it's probably the perfect mixer for whatever you want to mix it with, or chaser.
Anything. I mean, I first of all love Diet Coke, and I was talking with a friend of mine about Diet Coke from McDonald's.
Everybody, if you drink Diet Coke, Diet Coke from McDonald's, that's the stuff.
It is the stuff. And when I tell you that, like, I think my next thing might be opening up a McDonald's franchise just so I can have a constant flow of Diet Coke from, like, because those vats, chef's kiss. Like, that's
I don't know how they do it. I don't know why it's different, but it's different.
Oh no, there's an article on it.
Really?
I don't know if it was like an expose or if it was just like known. I don't think it's like a secret, but basically Coke and McDonald's have an agreement. And okay, this is not verbatim. Do not quote me on this. I read this somewhere. I don't know if this is fact. This is just my recollection. Yeah. They have some sort of agreement where the syrup for the Diet Coke is transported to the McDonald's in a special container. So it seals it. They have extra bubbles in the soda water that they use. Oh, yeah,
you can tell that.
Yeah, and it's more, the syrup is more concentrated because of the ice to syrup and soda water ratio, so that when the ice melts, it's less, but you drink it so fast. So there's like 3 reasons why those are them, I'm pretty sure. But I don't know. Nobody.
I've never met anybody that likes Diet Coke that does not believe that McDonald's Diet Coke is the best.
I know. If you don't believe it, you're not a Diet Coke drinker and you're a fraud.
No. See, and I'll tell you why I drink Diet Coke now, because I know. So during my first marriage, we got married very young, and we were poor. We could not drink regular Coke. She drank Diet Coke. Well, we couldn't afford to buy 2 different versions of Coke, so we just bought Diet, and I got hooked. So now 30 years later, still drinking the Diet Coke.
That's it.
I don't regret it, though. Probably one of the better things that I have decided to do.
I was going to say, like we mentioned, everyone has a vice.
That's right.
Ours is Diet Coke. I mean, mine's like Diet Coke and donuts. So it's such a dangerous combination because they go down so easily. Like, that's what I stick to. And I'm like, those are not the worst things. No.
No, and it's just like everything else, moderation.
Exactly.
Moderation.
Ex-
You know, if
Eating
you're
feel
chugging 2
balanced.
liters a day, that might be too much.
I mean, there have been no, you know, I
That
try
day.
and keep it in moderation. But even it's so funny because when people talk, you even asked, you know, like what's been the reception with RUNI? Like, tell me
Yeah.
about it. And because people think that what I want to do with the sexual wellness company is have people run around and be naked and be overly sexualized beings. And I'm like, no, it's about balance. It's just about bringing up women and people to a level where they feel comfortable to ask for what they want. Just like Diet Coke and donuts, moderation, balance, asceticism, not overindulgence. If that makes you happy, though, please go do it. Don't let me stop you. But it's just so that we can get on this even playing field, you know?
Yeah. No, I think that's really great. And I love that you didn't just start a company. You've got a whole philosophy behind it. You know, you've got an ideal, a plan. You know, you figured out exactly what you wanted to start with. You went out and researched the ingredients. You've done every step correctly. I just think it's the best idea. I love it.
I'm so excited. I cannot wait to send. You'll have to send me your address so that I can send some for you and your wife and your friends as well. Like literally everyone that I know, they send me their addresses. I'm like, all right, you're on the list.
You're on the list.
The best part about our PR list is that we're not doing PR boxes. I find them wasteful and stupid. People throw them away. Like nobody needs 17 different foundation colors from not one person anyway. You have one color. And people throw them away. So what I've done is I've partnered with a company, a charity actually called Plan International.
Oh, very nice.
And they're an amazing organization worldwide. And they have a specific program called Because I Am a Girl, which gives access to sexual and reproductive health and services and education to women and girls in 75 developing countries around the world. So anyone on the PR list is literally straight up just getting the package in a little letter, like the product in a little letter. And then I'm giving a donation in their name anonymously, of course, to this Because I Am a Girl Foundation. So
I love that.
Yeah, that's what we're doing.
You're paying it forward a little bit.
100%. And, you know, we even say in the letter, in the PR package, like we understand, like we're actually lucky. You know, we do have our issues right now in America, of course, with sexual and reproductive health and rights. Our rights, basic rights are being stripped away, of course. And that's definitely a conversation that needs to be had, needs to be fleshed out and should be litigated and also should be discussed like way more than it already is. But, you know, we're at a point also in society where women like me are able to start up sexual wellness companies focused on pleasure. That's amazing progress, right? We're not at the end of progress.
That's
There's
true.
So much to be done.
I'm not sure we'd have seen this 20 or 30 years ago.
Exactly. And there are places in the world where women are being married off by the second. There's genital mutilation going on where pleasure is not even the word that they're thinking about. They just want to know that they can have sex and not get STDs and STIs, and that they have access to, you know, education and services and pads and tampons and all these things that sometimes we take for granted here. So, you know, again, to sort of as best we can level the playing field and give people a sense of dignity and give people a sense of agency in their sexual and reproductive health and paying it forward in that way.
I love that. I think that does not surprise. Now that we've talked for an hour, that does not surprise me that you're doing that. I would have guessed that they do it. That's really commendable. That's terrific. Well, Felicia, thank you so much. This has been a fun hour. It went by so fast.
I know.
And now we've already set up our next one.
I literally cannot wait.
I know. That'll be fun. That'll be fun. It'll be hilarious, but it'll be a lot of fun.
I know. Maybe not 3:00. We'll have to do it at like 6.
No, the rest of the day I'll be like, that's right. It has to be later in the evening. So a couple things though before we wrap up. So the product releases on the 29th.
29th, yes.
Right. So where can everyone go to find RUNI?
So to find RUNI, you can find us at meetruni.com, meetruni.com. And all of our socials are meetruni. So meetruni. And if you want to connect with me, I'm just Miss Felicia H on Instagram. And I talk to everyone. I answer every single DM. Like I'm not above anything. So you can talk to me all you
want. Yeah, so far you do. There'll come a point you'll have trouble keeping up.
No, you know what's so funny? I read this article about Andy Cohen, and people say Andy Cohen is the best person because, like, even though he's very famous now, you know, like he's in sort of the upper echelons of the celebrity and he talks to everyone, yes, and he knows everyone, he always talks to everyone that talks to him. And he is just like so in love with the fact that he's become the person that he wanted to be. And he's like the nicest. So I will always be like Andy Cohen. Like, if it doesn't matter, I'm no one, but you know, if I ever become anything, I will talk to everyone, answer every DM because it's so fun. Like, you just get to talk to people, you know?
Yeah, that's the fun part. If you're going to put all this work into everything, that's what you want to do, though. You want to interact.
100%. Yes. And like, I would be nothing if people didn't believe in me and buy my product and engage with me. It's the engagement is the number one thing that people look for in commercial enterprise now. It's like, what are your numbers? And no one's going to engage with you if you don't engage back. So, you know, I'm an engager.
That's true. If you're just ignoring everybody, nobody's going to want to play with you. They're not going to engage.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So good. Anyway, Meet RUNI. You can find us at Meet RUNI, all the socials, and meetruni.com.
Well, and I think I told you, I don't remember if I said that on here before, but it's a really good website. It's very easy to navigate. It gives you all the information you can want, and it's very visual.
That was honestly, so when I was building the website, the one thing I said, and I kept this literally, we had a board. I kept this at the top of the board. I'm like, easy to use, to use, because there's nothing worse. People spend like hundreds of thousands of dollars on websites with like sparkles and this and that. Right. And I'm like, how do I even find anything? Buy? Yeah, like where do I go? So on my website, it's like shop, who we are, about us. The only confusing thing is that I'm in a blonde wig in all the photos. And so you might not recognize me, but that is the only confusing thing about the website. So
it's really good, which is, I think, important. You know, those of us that are not younger, you know, a lot of people aren't as technically savvy as they get older. So a website that's easy to use, like my mother, you know, if she's using a website, it needs to be fairly easy or she's going to struggle with it. So I think that's really good.
Oh, yeah. And like, also bells and whistles for what? Like people get impressed by things that look good, but you can make something look good and be simple to use. So that was what we went for. I'm glad it translated.
Yeah. I think now, you know, like when the internet first came out and stuff, bells and whistles were cool. You needed that stuff because we hadn't seen any of that stuff. At this point, everybody just make it simple. Just, you know, let me get to the products, find out about your company. If you got community on there that I can interact with, just make it simple. A couple clicks.
It's so funny you say that because it's like, what was the biggest thing at Art Basel a few years ago? It was that fucking banana taped to a wall. No one cared about the millions of things, you know. It was the banana taped to a wall that got everyone buzzing.
Yes.
Because people are tired. We're being sold to constantly with promises and again, like diamonds and sparkles and this. And it's like, just tell me what it is and where I get it.
That's it.
And so that's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah. I think you're doing a terrific job. I can't wait to see what you have coming next. This is an exciting start. You know, it's really, really good. And thank you so much, Felicia. This has been the best. I knew it was going to be fun. I was looking forward to it. It's going to be fun. It's a little different than my normal interviews, and I was really excited about that, and you definitely lived up to it.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Oh, you're so welcome. Okay, hold on one second. All right, so that was Felicia Hershenhorn, RUNI. She was terrific. I hope you guys enjoyed that. It is a little bit different than our normal interview, which I thought was terrific. I was so excited to talk with her, and she was so fun. I've been watching some of her previous interviews, getting ready for this one, and she's like that all the time, just full of energy, very positive, knows what she wants to do, and she's out there trying to help. I just think just really commendable. And just a terrific person. I'm so happy that she came on the program. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Check it out. RUNI. Don't miss out. Comes out, or I guess launches August 29th. So by the time you're listening to this, that's probably going to be like a week away. So definitely make sure to look that up and check it out. I think you'll be glad that you did. Thank you guys so much for tuning in again this week. We don't take that for granted. We appreciate it so much. I think today we are putting out episode 439, I think is what we're on. So we are counting down to that 500th episode. And you can find all of them, audio and video, on our website, meistercon.com. You can also find the video on our YouTube channel, MeisterCon Pod. If you check it out there, please subscribe. That would really help us out. So please do that. If you're checking us out on the website, meistercon.com, if we're doing anything in studio, if we're covering a convention, if we're going on location somewhere, all that'll be on the website. And Brett writes the best, fun, well-written blog that you'll ever read. It's very geeky, nerdy. It's just a lot of fun, but that's on the website as well. So check that out. He's such a talented writer, meistercon.com. Thank you guys so much. Till next time. Bye, everybody.